Hello, my name is Russell McKinley, and this is a brief overview of the history of theater as an art form. This is a really broad topic, and there's so much information to try and cover in just a few minutes, so bear with me if I get a little bit off topic, and we're going to try and get through this fairly quickly. Alright, the origins of theater. Theater is arguably the direct descendant of three human behaviors. First is mankind's need to imitate its surroundings. The second is the storytelling habits of our ancestors. And the third is our religious rites and our sacraments. Theater arguably has three main points of beginning. The first being in ancient Egypt, in Abydos, where we had the Abydos Passion Play. The Abydos Passion Play, we only have one record of it, and that is the Icernophrete Stone. And the Icernophrete Stone is an inscription made by an actor documenting the process of this play. And the play was a passion play about the goddess Isis and god Osiris. The second is the city Dionysia of ancient Greece, more specifically of the Athenians. And the legend is told that in the Dithrum, or the choral ode, where men stood around and sang drunken songs together, that Thespis, the first thespian and the origin of that word, stepped out of the chorus and entered into a dialogue with the chorus. As the years progressed, we grew into the Greek Hellenistic period, which I will talk about later, where we had the three great tragedians: Sophocles, Aeschylus, and Euripides. And then shortly after the fall of Rome, theater was driven underground and was re-resurrected by the Catholic Church in the medieval period, in their passion plays and in their mystery plays. Greek Hellenistic theater, often called the Golden Age of Greece, is the time period between 500 BCE and the rise of the Roman Empire. It was considered the first real roots of secularized theater. Great advances were made in theater architecture, including the orchestra, which became the modern-day apron of the stage, and the skene, which became the stage itself, the raised area where actors act. Aristotle, a late Greek-era writer, wrote a treatise called De Poetica, which was his method of kind of analyzing the works of the great tragedians, of whom he regarded Sophocles as the most prolific and the most proficient, for his use of word and his unities of time, place, and action. And what originally began as Aristotle's kind of guidelines soon became very hard and fast rules in the neoclassical period in Italy and France. The French neoclassical period is the second of the four great periods of theater that we study, and the French neoclassical period was marked by a myriad of writers, but primarily Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, who went by the stage name Molière in order to spare his parents the dishonor of having an offspring that worked in the arts, especially one who wrote as bawdy plays as Molière did. And the period was characterized by strict adherence to the three unities, which means that a play must occur in no more than a 24-hour period. It must occur in one place unless the second setting could be traveled to in less than 24 hours. And it must have one plot, unity of action, where there weren't any side stories being told. You had one protagonist, one antagonist, and it was solely about those characters. The Elizabethan period gave rise to writers like Ben Jonson, Christopher Marlowe, and others, but no one had a greater effect on this period than William Shakespeare. We don't know much about Shakespeare's life because records were very hard to keep in that time period, but we do know that he worked for King James at first, and then later for Queen Elizabeth directly, as kind of their personal entertainer, but also as an entertainer for the masses. William Shakespeare, more than any other author in all time, has generated more education, more study than any other author, and it's amazing that we have the extant works from him that we do have. The rise of realism was at the beginning of the 20th century, and in this time period, theater had become a mass entertainment, but the acting style was primarily melodramatic, meaning that the characters portrayed were not realistic characters. They were very larger-than-life, flamboyant kind of characters, and this gave rise to authors like August Strindberg and probably more effective Heinrich Ibsen. And to the modern eye, these works are still not what we would call realism. Realism as we know it today was born shortly after the fall of the economy on Black Tuesday, with Konstantin Stanislavski in Europe working with actors to develop a more serious method of portraying realistic characters, and in America, the group theater. And the group theater was a group of people who intended to focus on ensemble work, group work. There would be no stars, and their intention was to create as realistic characters on stage as possible. And this is where we get the phrase, realism is a slice of life, and that's what they strive to create on stage. The modernist era of American drama typically revolves around the time of the ending of the Second World War. The group theater, though they began before the war began, they were instrumental in creating that kind of drama, and they gave birth to the careers of authors like Clifford Odets and Arthur Miller, and they worked to create some of the most influential pieces of live theater in Western drama, in the mode of modern storytelling, and they gave rise to works like Clifford Odets' Waiting for Lefty, Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman, Arthur Miller's All My Sons, and all of these plays, they talk about the social aspects of the day and the social issues of the day, and it made it very relevant to the public's eye, and it brought theater to the forefront not only as a mode of entertainment and of storytelling, but also as a means for a society to address a social issue. And this was very new to the world. And then we have the postmodern drama era, and oftentimes in theater we talk about where do we go from here, and there isn't a real good answer to that question. As we progress, theater is once again trying to find its role in society. We are no longer at the forefront of entertainment because of the internet, because of TV, because of radio and music being available in mass quantities like it has never been before, whereas theater is an intimate experience between actor and audience. It's a live experience. It's a breathing experience. So what a lot of modern companies have come to is finding more novel ways of telling story. The picture on this slide is from a production from the West End in London called Warhorse. And the horses that you see are puppets. They aren't real horses, though if you could see them move, you would forget that they were puppets because of their lifelike motion and their meaningful articulation. To a lot of modern theatricians, we believe that this might be where theater is going, to advance itself in storytelling and also still addressing social issues, but doing it in a very novel way, in a very entertaining way, in a way that the audience hasn't seen before, and maintaining our sense of spectacle. So this has been a theater history overview, and I hope you enjoyed the slideshow and this podcast. Thank you so much.